Good morning, students. Welcome to your basic science class. In our last class, we have started the chapter about flowers, flower to flower. We have seen different types of flowers and the use of flowers we have discussed, and pollination in flowers also we have discussed. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is called pollination. Then we have started some pollinating agents. So at the end of today's video, you will be able to describe some important pollinating agents and types of fruits formed in a plant. Types of fruits and pollinating agents. Let's move to the topic. As we have discussed in our last class, there are many butterflies and bees coming in our flower garden. Why these bees and butterflies are coming to our garden? They are coming to collect the honey or drink honey from the plants. Honeybees will collect the honey from one flower and it will go to the another flower. Again it will collect, then it will go to its nest and to store honey there. So these butterflies and small insects, honeybees, are moving from one plant to another. When these insects are moving from one plant to another, these pollen grains will stick onto these insects. And when it is going from one plant flower into another flower, these pollen grains will spread from one plant to or one flower to another flower. This causes pollination, so they are working as pollinating agents. Now we are going to see some other pollinating agents. They are wind and water. Very important pollinating agents. When there is wind, you can observe some of the flowers are producing, some of the flower seeds are spreading in the air. In paddy, maize and all it happens. So in paddy field you can see when there is a wind, paddy plants will be moving in a uniform way, right? So at that time the pollen grains from one flower will move to the another flower and pollination will take place. Other one is water. When there is rain or dew drops, through the water, pollen grains will spread from one flower to another flower, especially in pepper and all, in pepper vines. This type of pollination takes place. So, two types of pollinating agents. One is wind, other one is water. The first one we have discussed, butterflies and bees, insects. Each flower is having its own feature to attract or for pollination. So, some flowers are having nice attractive colors to attract butterflies and bees. The size of the flowers will be big. Some flowers are having good smell. Some flowers may be stinking. Bad smell also will be there. All these things are to attract pollinating agents like insects and all. Some flowers may have lightweight pollen grains. When there is strong wind, these pollen grains will spread in the air. So there are some features given, features of pollen grains given in your textbook, and you can see some features of the flowers. Some features of the flowers are tabulated. You have to find the pollinating agent according to the feature given here. So complete this table. This is the follow-up activity for today. The features are lightweight pollen grains. If there is lightweight pollen grains, which pollinating agent is suitable for pollination? The next is colorful flowers. If the flowers are very colorful, which one is the best or suitable pollinating agent? Then flowers that bloom at night. As you know, jasmine and flowers that bloom at night will have very nice smell. Then next is pollination in moisture. So complete this table. This is your follow-up activity for today's class. So as we have discussed, the journey of pollen grains from anther to stigma and formation of zygote in the ovary. This process is pollination, right? So pollen grains travels from anther, which is male part, and goes to the stigma, which is female part. And this process is pollination in flowers. So we have discussed the pollinating agents. If there are no bees or butterflies or wind, how the pollination will take place? For example, we have a polyhouse or greenhouse. Inside the polyhouse or greenhouse, insects will be very less, chance is very less, wind will not be there. In such cases, we have to apply artificial pollination. We have to take the anther and we have to put the pollen grains into stigma. Artificial pollination will take place in such polyhouses or in artificial conditions. Next, we are going to check the journey of pollen grains. Just think, if pollen grains of a pumpkin flower falls on stigma of the ascot flower, is there any chance of fertilization or formation of seeds or fruits? Another scenario, if the pollen grains of a pumpkin flower falls on the stigma of pumpkin flower itself, in which situation the fertilization will take place? The second one, right? So pollination becomes effective when pollen grains are falling on the flowers of same kind. It's not possible to take place the pollination between pumpkin and ash gourd or pumpkin or bitter gourd. Okay, the flowers should be of same kind. Next, we are going to check what are the ways of pollination that takes place. Ways of pollination. Two ways are there. One is self-pollination, other one is cross-pollination. Then what is self-pollination? What is cross-pollination? Self-pollination takes place in a single flower. For example, hibiscus. In hibiscus, pollen grains from anther falls on to the stigma in the same flower because both male part and female part will be present in the same flower. So that is self-pollination. So in a single flower, the pollination takes place. It's not getting the pollen grains from another flowers. Another one is pollen grains from one flower falls on the stigma of another flower in the same plant. So if the flowers are from the same plant and pollination takes place in the same plant, that is also called self-pollination. Next is cross-pollination. In cross-pollination, flowers will be from different plants. From one plant, the anther, and pollen grains reaches to the stigma of another plant's flower. These type of pollinations are known as cross-pollination. So two ways of pollinations are the self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now we have seen pollination, self-pollination, cross-pollination. After pollination, what will happen? Fruits will form, right? Fruits are forming. So during the formation of fruits, this flower will slowly change into a seed or fruit. During that change, the parts of flower will change into a fruit. Some of the parts may go off, whether it may fall down. You can see some flowers may dry and the petals of the flowers are on the ground and fruits are coming in the plant, isn't it? So which are the parts that is feathered from the flower? Which are the parts that changes completely into a fruit? There's a small table given in your textbook. Look at that. What changes occur in the various parts of a flower when it becomes a fruit? Part of the flower that changes. First one is pedicel, then thalamus, calyx, corolla. These are the parts given. And some pictures of the fruits also given in your textbook. Refer it. Pedicel. The pedicel part will hold the fruit. Pedicel part will hold the fruit into the plant. Next is thalamus. Thalamus changes into the edible part of the fruit. Thalamus changes to the edible part. For example, if you are taking a mango or strawberry, the edible part which we can eat, the part which we can eat is from the thalamus. Next is calyx. In some species, we can see the calyx will hold in the fruit itself. You can see the tomato and calyx part will be staying in the fruit itself. Next is corolla. Corolla or the petals part will wither away. That will go with the wind after drying. So these are the parts of the flower that changes into fruit and stay. Some of the parts are staying with the fruit, some are going away, withered away. So in the formation of fruits, the ovary which contains ovules in it is changing into a fruit. So when we are cutting fruits or vegetables, we can see many seeds inside it. Seed will be the and edible part also will be the. So when we are checking a fruit, these two parts are the. So which part is changing into seed and which part is changing into the fruit part? In a female flower, ovule and ovary will be the. Inside the ovary, ovule will be the. We have seen by labeling the parts in the beginning. So the ovule becomes seed and ovary becomes the fruit. Ovule becomes the seed and ovary of that flower becomes the fruit. You can see the picture. Ash gourd example is given in our book. You can see the pictures also. Next, we are going to discuss about types of fruits. Types of fruits. There are mainly three types of fruits we are going to discuss. Next, we are going to discuss about types of fruits. We are studying three types of fruits. When flowers changes to fruits, from some flowers, only one fruit will form. For example, mango tree. From mango tree, one flower will change into one mango. In tomato also, one flower will change into one tomato. Isn't it? So such fruits are known as simple fruits. So simple fruits are formed from one flower, isn't it? So when one flower gives only one fruit, these type of fruits are known as simple fruits. You can see example of mango and tomato here. But there's a difference between mango and tomato. Mango contains only one seed in it, but tomato contains many seeds in it, right? So look at the flowers of mango and tomato. What is the difference? In mango, inside the ovary, only one ovule is there. So we are getting one seed. But in tomato, inside the ovary, there are many ovules. So as we have discussed before, ovule changes to seed and ovary becomes the fruit. So if there is more ovules inside the flower or inside the ovary, we are getting more seeds. Next type of fruits is aggregate fruits. If we are getting more than one fruit from a flower, from a single flower, if you are getting more than one fruit, those types of fruits are known as aggregate fruits. For example, custard apple. Now let's see one interesting fact about a jackfruit tree. Maybe you have observed jackfruit trees flowers. Many flowers will be together as inflorescence. Pungula. Inflorescence will be there. So many flowers will be there. So when these flowers, many number of flowers changes into fruit, it changes into a single jackfruit. So when we cut that jackfruit, we can see there are edible part and non-edible part also, right? So chakakuru and chakachola both are there. So this chakachola is from ovary and ovule changes into chakakuru, that seed part. And there are some other parts also in a jackfruit, right? The remaining flowers, there is no fertilization. The remaining flowers changes into a chakachawni part. Chakachawni. That's how a jackfruit is formed. So from many flowers, only one single jackfruit is formed. Now we are moving to a third type of fruits. As we have learned, ovary changes into fruit. But in some plants, pedicel and thalamus will change into fruit. As you can see in cashew apple. In cashew apple, pedicel part is changing into fruit and the remaining part changes into the seed part. These type of fruits are known as false fruits. These type of fruits are known as false fruits. Okay, so simple fruits, aggregate fruits, and false fruits. Three types of fruits. We can see some more examples for false fruits. Apple and pear are some examples for false fruits. In apple and pear, the fruit parts are developed from thalamus. Okay, so we have seen pollinating agents and types of fruits in our class. So observe the diagrams properly. You should know how to label them and function of each part also you have to study. So that's all from today's class. If you have any doubt, we will clarify in our live section and in our revision part. So that's all from today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.